sorry for the team at Netflix. I mean, I don't feel sorry for Ted Sarandos, the chief executive of Netflix, who has engineered this whole insane arrangement. But during this interview, Meghan actually is so craven in terms of that relationship. Rather than thanking them and saying it's a collaboration, they have saved me. You know, I was axed by Spotify. Everything else failed. Netflix have saved me despite a succession of flops. There's instead this real front of Meghan making it clear that this is her way or the highway. And she claims that's even written into her contract. Watch.
Yeah. And where are the lines? Like, what are you doing versus what are they doing? Because I imagine, especially when it's something that's so close to your heart and something that you clearly take a lot of pride in, how are you able to make sure that the product is what you want it to be, the brand is what you want it to be? Because there's a lot of compromise when it comes to partnerships. And I say this to founders all the time, right? When you give something, you have to imagine that something's coming back. And so what does that partnership actually look like right now?
Well, I think at the end of the day, what I appreciate is in the contract, they understand that this is my vision.
Mm-hmm.
It's my vision. And also the success of the brand, I believe, is rooted in the fact that you can feel when I am involved in something. And so because I have been in this state of ideation of what I wanted to have as an offering for so long, the fact that they trust my final judgment is great on what I want to put out there.
I mean, it's also insane. It's insane that you're trusting her judgment, Ted Sarandos. This is the problem, though. Netflix has money to waste. And as Angela mentioned earlier, Meghan also reveals that she's now taking the brand global.
Appliance is different globally when we get into that market, which we will.
You're going global.
How can we not?
I mean, how can you not?
Yeah, but it's the spirit of sharing. I don't want to just share it here. I want to share it.
It's better for the P&L.
We're happy.
Well, there is that, Meghan.
Yes, that's true. And in the spirit of sharing. But I think, look, at the end of the day, if I had gone into beauty, for example, and I have a lot of...
Was that a consideration at any point for you?
It was definitely something that people were asking me to get involved with. I mean, in these past
Did you have any inclination where you're like, this could be fun?
I think it can be fun.
Yeah.
And I think there'll be a time for that. I think there'll certainly be a time for fashion. You and I can talk about that later. But I think, ultimately, I wanted to do what felt authentic, but I also recognize that, yes, there are variables that you don't have to think about.
Oh, Angela, I mean, I'm more than happy without her jam in the United Kingdom. Thank you very much.
How can you manage? I'll be this
fine.
whole thing that, my vision, when she's lost each time, it's not worked. It's no good. Nothing she's done is any good. So how can she say everybody understands my vision and they can feel it? This is a very sort of strange comment to make, isn't it? That people are so wary of her, that she has a sort of mysterious lamp around her that she's actually will lighten up everything she's saying. I mean, it's most peculiar. This is very revealing, actually, that she's ridiculous, that she thinks of herself so highly that everybody has to understand that she's the one who's making the choice because she is brilliant. She's the one who's going to save the world with her jam and other means of I don't know what other means she's got. Not very much.
Well, we know actually,
special.
Angela, what's coming, don't we? We know what's coming, and it is the pimping out of the children. This is the next big focus. So we saw it over the weekend. I was away, but we saw it over the weekend with the Father's Day Instagram video. Now, you'll see here, Angela, this was the closest that she's come to yet in terms of going back to full reveals of the faces of Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. There are so many discrepancies, by the way, in this video in terms of how they look. But it's very, very clear that she does, and I'll play you something that backs up what I'm about to say in just a moment, Angela, but it's very, very clear that she sees these two children not as little people who need to be protected, but as money makers, which is so grim, but it's sort of the Kardashian, Beckham celebrity way of being these days. I hate it.
So do I. And I think it's very dreadful because if you can do something and you put your children in to do the same thing when they are older, past their teenage years, that actually they find that they're hopeless. They don't know how to do it.
Yes.
They don't want to
I
do
mean,
it.
look at
What
Justin
else
Bieber
can they
right
do?
now. Look at Britney Spears right now. You know, there's a reason why it's very important that you don't become famous, in my opinion, until you're over 18, because they say, Angela, that when you become famous, your brain stays at that level. And that's why Catherine and William, for example, have been so careful in terms of the protection of their children. But in this interview, Meghan admits that she's annoyed that her children's clothing are helping other brands and that she's not getting the affiliate sales back as a result, which is just such a bizarre thing to even think about, let alone put out into the world. Watch this.
You get comfortable, basically.
You get comfortable.
You get
to be an
comfortable.
acceptance of what is.
Yeah, no, completely. But I also think it's really amazing that you can participate in that now, because after a while it can, you know, I think it's wonderful and it's great that everybody can gain from it. But I do think that there is a time and a place in your life where you need to have some skin in the game. You need to have a piece of that for yourself.
Yes. And I think what was so wild, maybe the surprise came in when anything that my children were wearing started to get monetized and affiliate sales and part of headlines and things. That's where it became a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, when it comes from a place of love and excitement, very, very different.
It's very different.
Yeah, then you can be happy about it and say, of course, have the same dress that Lily has. It's when it comes from a different side. But that's true of most things in life.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Go, Angela.
Yeah, but she did the same thing to Princess Charlotte, didn't she? She came out with the little dress that she's worn, and that's what little George had worn as well. So she doesn't consider anybody else. What she's doing, which is so hateful, is what she's complaining. It was what she did about the other royals, and actually it is absolutely disgusting when you think you have the power to make other people discomfort, but nobody's allowed to do that to you. That was her first thing.
Totally. You're really right to point out. I'd forgotten she did that with the children of Catherine and William, which was so disgusting. Yeah. But what's so odd for me is it's like, oh my goodness, you're already thinking about making money off your kids' clothes. And it's also so telling because, you know, lots of people are saying, Angela, that she very much has her favorites, and her favorite is Charlotte, and her favorite is Lily, and she mentions Lily rather than Archie, which I think is quite telling as well. She clearly thinks there's more money to be made out of her daughter rather than her son. Also incredibly grim. But this podcast host, Emma Grede, does ask her about how she deals with the issue of finances and money with her children. And this is the part, Angela, that you referenced earlier, where she claims that the Sussexes have been, you know, just going down to the local farmers market. Yeah, right. Okay, watch this.
Do you have, I mean, your kids are really little, mine are a bit older. Do you have conversations with your kids about money? Like, how are you even beginning to think about that type of thing?
Well, we sometimes do a little farmer's market stand.
Nice.
So we have...
That's so American. I love that idea. Like a little lemonade stand just makes me feel like that is like perfect Americana in Montecito with a farm stand.
But
like,
we do...
How beautiful.
We grow a lot of veggies, and part of what I want them...
Go and sell these.
Part of what I want them to learn is, and gardening is really, really so great for children because it teaches them patience, teaches them to value and appreciate their food. So you start from seed and you watch it grow and they wait. But with that, it's like, now do you want to sell your harvest? And do you want to share it with our community? And also, what do you want to do with those funds once you have them? So really starting to understand, as they're learning counting and numbers and all of those things, that there's a cost and a price for things.
Yes.
And I think that's key for children to understand that, especially children who are very lucky to have a home that has privilege. You need to know that, you know, just like manners, and taking care of the things around you, there is a value on things. And in our life, for my husband and I, it's really important that they understand the value of things.
She was getting a bit snippy there, wasn't she, Angela, at Emma interrupting her? She didn't like the whole jokey side of it. This is very serious, Angela, what Meghan's doing.
And do you know, she just said my husband. She said it 3 times in the hour. My husband. Nothing, but he was actually in half a sentence. He didn't actually have any part of it.
No, she's not even calling him H during this interview. You're so right. And it's the possessive. It's always the possessive, isn't it? My husband, not H. Exactly. There was one other part where she mentioned date nights, but she didn't mention his name.
That's right. She makes time for date. It's so difficult for her because she's so busy all the time doing this program and that program.
Yeah, unlike her loser husband who has no job now. That's pretty much what she's saying.
She has to find time for the children and also for date time with her husband.
No, it's very interesting. Very, very good point. Now, Angela,
it's as if it's sort of just on the list. You know, it's not saying, I can't wait till I'm with him and we have a lovely time.
No, it's like tick it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Tick it off. But no, he is very much absent, actually, from this podcast, which I found interesting, given that he's usually the first thing that she uses when she needs some clout. Yeah, that's what it feels like. Now, Angela, I mentioned earlier that there's some delusion in this podcast. There's some real delusion. And this one I just found funny. I found it really funny. I mean, because as ever's been a disaster, right? This woman sold about 500 jars of jam or whatever. But she's now talking about the fact that she believes that she's going to be a heritage brand, Angela. So she's like the new Fortnum and Mason. We're going to see Meghan Markle as ever around in 100 years. And it's because she's just so not trend driven, apparently. Watch this.
You're really proud of.
Yes, incredibly proud of. And also when you're not trying to be trend driven, there's a rush to jump on a trend. There is no rush if you're working towards something that could ultimately and hopefully become a heritage brand.
Yes.
When you're looking for what is like my personal aesthetic, I find it to be classic, timeless. There is a reason that I'm sure there was puff sleeves were cool and trendy for a moment. I didn't catch that trend. I wasn't doing that.
You were still in your white button down.
I was still in my crisp white button down and jeans. And so, when I look at the brand through that same lens, I think it's really important to say then there isn't the same sense of urgency and rush because you're not trying to meet a moment. You're trying to meet something that can be evergreen.
Oh, Angela, she does think a lot of herself, doesn't she?
It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's completely unbelievable. But the thing was, there again, she didn't want anyone else speaking. She didn't want Emma to say something, cut in at half a sentence because she's had enough now. She's absolutely slowly only contacting on herself, She doesn't want the woman to say anything. She's had enough of it because she's asking questions that she's actually fed up with. That's what I think. Now don't have to explain this. You should know what I'm like now. I'm just amazing, absolutely amazing. I can do everything. I'm much better than everybody else. And so don't keep on grilling me.
Yes, indeed. And Meghan, by this point, wasn't liking Emma's open-ended questions where she had to think. I mean, there's one I didn't cut, Angela, because she almost went on for too long. But she simply, when she was asked who was someone who she looked up to, someone who she idolized, she would not name one human being. And I thought, wow, that's so telling. She doesn't feel confident anymore to actually give credit to anyone else. Then she was asked, Angela, what she has learned about herself.
What's the most surprising thing that you've learned about yourself as you've been, in this brand building moment of your life?
That I can bounce back pretty easily. Because you can have the best laid plans for your brand. And if you are too attached to it, when you do have to pivot, that can be crushing. And to learn that, as I was saying earlier, it's a dance. Okay, well, let's take a minute, get our footing and dance over here.
Yeah.
Let's twirl over there. So I think similar to what you're saying about men in business, being able to find the playfulness and joy in it, even though the stakes are high.
Yes.
just really try to have fun in all of it.
It's a great muscle to try and train yourself, like to get there.
Yeah, to be playful in it.
Yeah.
Playfulness and joy, Megan. Does that also count towards the staff members who you bullied so badly that a couple of them ended up in rehab? And then finally, what would she tell her younger self?
Taking things personally. A lot of them talk about that. You know,
do you do that?
Taking things personally? Yeah, of course. I'm human. And that can be really hard. So you can do all the practices and things that you want to do, but at the end of the day, you're still human. You're still going to cry. You're still going to take something to heart, especially if you've poured so much of yourself into it.
Yeah.
You know, when I want the jam spread thin, I mean spread thin on toast.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
I want
that gag.
Everything that I'm thinking about that I have poured my heart and soul into. It's not just jam. Could I just go and make a preserve somewhere and stick my name on it? Of course. Not what I wanted to do. So I loved that it was winning all these blind taste tests. And I loved that people loved it. Oh, I was making that in my kitchen. That's how you'd feel if you're at my house. Thank you. It works. And so if there's some hiccup along the way that doesn't land in the same way, even like in a small internal team on how it's tracking, I go, well, okay, whew, all right. I was really excited about it, but let's think about how we can make this something that really works at scale, because I don't want this to be a niche product line. But yes, taking things personally is a human reaction.
Angela, I don't see much humanity there, do you?
No, there isn't any.